What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of JoesTech. If you guys tuned in last week, we took a look at a case that was very budget-friendly and, of course, very functional, but had a few of the aesthetics that we like to see in a more expensive case missing because, of course, it was very budget-friendly. Now, as luck would have it, I was able to take a look at a case this week for a project that I have coming up that still is pretty budget-friendly, a little bit more pricey than that last case we looked at, but has a lot of the aesthetics that a more premium case would typically have. So, without saying too much, why don't we go ahead and dive into it, and we'll see what we got. Today we'll be feasting our eyes on the refreshed Phanteks Eclipse P400 in its new tempered glass edition. At first glance, you can see Phanteks has again put something together that has all the nice clean lines that we've come to expect from their cases. At the front we have a smooth matte finish bezel with ventilation at the top and bottom. At the top of the case we have a surround LED lit power button along with two USB 3.0 connections and audio inputs. You may also notice an indicator for the fan control, LED control, and reset. These are indicators to show the location of the buttons hidden underneath the top lip of the bezel. Also at the top are two removable fan grills. These allow for a more sleek look into the case, but also provide a solution for heating issues that you may run into dependent on the components you're running in your build. Moving to the viewing side of the case, Phanteks has replaced the original solid side with a clean and open tempered glass panel. The glass does have a slight tint like other cases from Phanteks and does also have a thick black film bezel which helps hide the edges of the mounting points for this case. Keep in mind this black edging is a film and can get scratched off, as I had to sadly learn on my Enthoo Evolve tempered glass. The mounting of the panel itself is achieved by the typical 4 protruding grommets that allow the panel to hang and be fastened into place with thumb screws. It would be nice if Phanteks came up with a hinged solution that was uniform across all of their cases like we've seen in the Enthoo Evolve M series. Inside the case, Phanteks again has done a great job leaving you an open canvas to display your hardware with plenty of space to hide cabling. Although they aren't included, Phanteks has given you the option to remove the plastic plates that are pre-installed and add their 3.5-inch hanging drive bays. These bays can be purchased from Phanteks or other retailers online. Speaking of storage, at the bottom of the case we have dual SSD trays neatly placed behind the motherboard tray. We also have dual 3.5-inch bays with removable plastic trays under the front side of the PSU shroud. Keep in mind you will lose access to these bays if you decide to go with a large radiator in the front. If you are interested in water cooling in this case, you can expect support for 120 by 360mm rad by removing the shroud cover in the front of the case, or a 140 by 280mm rad in the front of the case without removing that cover. For fan mounts, the front case holds 3 120mm or dual 140mm fans. At the top we could fit dual 120mm or 140mm fans and still have support for a single 120mm at the rear of the case. For dust control, Phanteks included many options to keep things clean. Built in the top and bottom intakes of the front bezel are two small dust filters, although I feel like this could be a problem if those become quickly clogged, being that they're already a small area for intake. As we discussed earlier, there are removable plates at the top of the case for additional airflow, so to combat dust here, Phanteks included a pair of magnetic dust filters. One final removable dust filter is placed neatly under the PSU. Although this case didn't come with many accessories, one thing that it did include was a single RGB strip to place in the case. Phanteks has also included a built-in control, also mentioned earlier. This will allow you to cycle through 10 different colors of light which are reflected by the strip, the power button, and the illumination at the bottom of the front shroud. The strip was a nice addition and it does provide some nice ambient lighting, although I do wish the magnets were a little bit more strong or that the strip had come with additional adhesive for a more permanent install. Although unrelated to the LEDs, one thing I did want to mention is that this case does also have a certain amount of dampening material added. The whole front bezel as well as the whole rear door are lined with this thick material and should allow for some level of noise containment. So a couple things to mention before we wrap up this video. Of course, if you guys want to check this case out further, I'll go ahead and leave links in the description below so you can check out what options are available if you'd like to look into that further. Of course, I'm going to be working on a project with this case, and I'm kind of on a time constraint, so I may not be able to share everything with you guys, but I'm going to do my best to at least do some type of time lapse and show you, what that project looks like. Now, I know obviously from doing a little testing with the case, the install is very smooth. There's plenty of room for cable management. I didn't run into too many snags. Obviously the material is pretty nice. The one thing that I did notice is that the top of the case did scratch a little bit very easily because it is a plastic material, but other than that, Seems to be very durable. Very happy with this case, especially with its $79 US price point, which is really, really reasonable, right? Especially for getting that tempered glass side panel, of course, getting the power supply shroud, having a ton of optional storage space to add on, and of course there's room for liquid cooling or even AIOs without doing too much of without doing any modification, really. That being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and of course, hopefully I was able to cover everything you guys needed in the video. Of course, if you have any questions, feedback, concerns, I'm always happy to hear it in the comments section. Of course, if you haven't subscribed already and you want to see more tech videos like this, feel free to hit that subscribe button. And of course, do me a huge solid and give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down on your way out, depending on what you thought about the content. And of course, guys, until next time, this has been JoesTech. I'll see you in the next video.